In our last session, we learned about how to position elements relative to other elements on a page, both from the top and from the left. We showed examples of moving the navigation bar a couple units down so that it will be level with some of the other materials on the page. The navigation bar now is in good positioning for us to move forward. The next thing we want to do is start on the exercise that's included on page 192 and 193. To do that, we're going to go back to our source code for the actual About Us page. And in step 1, we're asked to actually put some specific code right after the LI tag for the About Us page. And I'm going to type that code in right now. It's an image CRS tag, or an image source tag. This is going to place an image, hopefully, right where we are placing the code. fl_dark.gif. And we're going to actually put a width attribute with this image of 45 and a height attribute of 45. And this means, if we remember from previous units, that the height and width of this image will display in the browser at 45 pixels by 45 pixels. We're also going to put an alt tag. In this case, we're just going to leave the alt tag blank because there's no real meaning to this image. It's just a piece of decoration. And we're going to also include a title tag. And again, we're going to leave the value of the title attribute blank. Then in step 2, we're asked to put a very similar set of code in front of each of the other elements. The only difference is the actual image name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the one that I just created and just change the image name from dark to light. And we'll paste that in front of each of the navigation elements, so right on the inside of the LI tag. And you may ask, well, why are we putting a different image name on the current page, the About Us page, as opposed to all the other pages in the navigation? Well, very often when you're navigating a website, you'll notice there's some kind of indicator on the navigation bar to tell you where you've been. And so in this case, what we've done is we've said there's going to be a little dark decoration next to the actual page that we're on, and all the rest of them will be light in color. And you'll see what I mean here in just a moment. We're going to go ahead and save this source code, save the HTML, and then reload the page. When we do this, watch what happens to this navigation bar over here. Okay, now we have a navigation bar, and to the left of each of the navigation items, it doesn't look great at all, but it's a start. To the left of each of the navigation items, there is either a dark or a light icon, and in the case of the page we're actually on, it's a dark icon. All the rest of them are light, and the dark icon is just an indicator to the user to say this is where you're at. So now we're going to return back to the Lakeland.css style sheet, make the edits for the rest of the exercise. I'm going to go ahead and allow you to make those changes on your own. Be really careful to be sure that you're looking at each line of code, the name value pairs, and that you get all the names and values exactly right. No misspellings, because any misspellings will cause the resulting page to not look correct. So I'll let you pause the video here, and then when you come back, we'll take a look at the page and do a few additional adjustments just to see what happens. So now you've completed all the steps, and this is what your page should look like. You have the navigation items, and each of the navigation items have a specific look to them related to the image, the indicator image on the left-hand side, and they're all lined up properly now. One of the things I want to do is I want to suggest that you go back to your code in the style sheet and make a couple changes. So we're going to go ahead and go back to that portion of the code related to the positioning of the image. You'll remember you created a new selector on LI, or the list item, and the image tag within that. we can take a look at that in the code right here. I'll highlight it just a moment. And remember, we put negative numbers. And a negative number means that we're actually pushing something in the opposite direction. So if this left attribute was 40, we'd be pushing 40 pixels to the right. Since it's negative 40, we're going to be pushing 40 pixels to the left. And what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to increase that number, and then I'll increase the number of the top from a -8 to a -18, and we'll save it just to see what it looks like. Now keep in mind this is not going to probably look acceptable to us, but it's going to be interesting to watch and see what happens. See how the images are now way off to the left, and we've done that again by increasing the negative number. Now let's go back and let's change that left number from a negative to a positive. Revert back to what we started with. We had a -40 and a -8. If we change the left attribute to a +40, it should move those images to the right. We'll go ahead and save this. We'll go back to our browser, reload it, and notice how now the images have went to the right of the location where they really should be. Go back to the source code one time, and we'll put it at a -40 again. Save the file, look at our page in the web browser, and now again the images are exactly where they should be. Again, I would challenge you to go back to the Cascading Style Sheet code, make additional adjustments so you understand how these positioning statements work. When you're done with that, it's time for you to move on to the next exercise.